Hey everybody, it's Tuesday night. It's July 22nd. It's about nearly 7 o'clock at night, and I'm recording this video. I'm a little bit burnt out, I gotta say. I don't know if you watched last week, I interviewed Dan Hartman, whose son had passed at the age of 16 after taking one of the you know whats, right? That starts with the letter P, pfft. And I don't know. It was really hot in the room that day, and in my house where I record, and I just was crying, and I just feel like the emotion of all this is finally taking quite a bit of a toll on me because I'd never interviewed someone whose child had actually passed, and as a mother myself, it was just a bit much. And we talked about global news, and the three-part series were wonderful. That they were finally doing a three-part series, telling the truth that they should have told you in the beginning, because then people wouldn't be in that circumstance. People like Kayla Pollock and thousands, I would say millions of other people too that have either lost loved ones or been injured. Have the news done the right thing in the beginning, nobody would be in this mess. Nobody would be in this mess, and we know that it was them that pushed you. And now, like, so I talked how about how I have some leaked like video, and I leaked audio, and I have things that I've never released before. But just one more thing I just want to say about Kayla Pollock. She's in the wheelchair, and I saw her being interviewed by David Creighton, and it was a great interview. I mean, she's such a spirit that comes through, like this real fighting, just kind of matter of fact way about her. And we've been talking. I will interview her, so I will tee that up also. But just if you could check that video out, that I just really enjoyed hearing about her, and just even made me even more frustrated, not only with this, but with my former news colleagues, and how they sit there with a straight face and report like they're just going after the big guy. We're going after that useless Visp. When you should be going after yourselves and apologizing on your knees to me and everybody else whose lives you wrecked. Actually, my life didn't get wrecked. I'm still healthy, knock on wood, but you know what I mean, right? Okay, so speaking of leaks and leakage, that sounded weird. Like a poise pad commercial. No, anyway, okay, Travis Donraj. Now, I've talked about him before. I'm most kind of fascinated with his story because some leaked audio came out of the CBC going after him. And when we say leaked audio, it really means we release it. Okay, it doesn't like leak out, like, these things don't happen. It's put out there on purpose. But if you don't know, Travis Donraj, here he is. He was hosting a show on CBC. He's been in the business for a long time, like about as long as me. He's got a lot of chutzpah, and he's got a lot of integrity to stand up the way that he stood up. He says he was basically forced to resign from CBC because of editorial differences. And actually, he had asked Catherine Tate to talk about the budget, to talk about the bonuses. It's a completely newsworthy item, but very ballsy, very much a thing that the network would totally frown upon, having an anchor take their own CEO not to task, but just to ask, hey, what do you think about these bonuses? It's completely fair journalism, but CBC was having none of that.
It was widely reported on by not only the CBC but other broadcasters. There's nothing in the tweet that is insider information.
A perception of a unionized employee criticizing their employer. It is an employee who has a personal stake in the matter, whose job is part of it. And that tweet could or could not be based on information that you know as an employee. So the issue is, does this post meet the standards of integrity? Does it meet the conflict of interest and the code of conduct?
Yeah.
Those are the questions.
And I firmly stand by the fact that it does.
Do you understand the concern with this post as it relates to the principle of integrity?
She's asking him about integrity. They're obviously trying to suppress this information about the budget, saying, how do you think? They're basically saying you're making us look like we're in disrepute, which is what Global also did to me. I'll play you a little bit of audio from a phone call with Global too that I had about COVID stuff. But this is Andre Lau, Senior Director of Digital Publishing and Streaming at the CBC. I mean, asking him, she doesn't even understand how she doesn't even understand the how she's framing it and how awful they are. Like, this is a point beyond her, or is it? She doesn't get it. She doesn't get that he is trying to hold the CBC accountable. The CBC is part of the news. The CBC is taxpayer funded and pays your salary, Andre. And even though he's a CBC employee, he still recognizes what a story is.
I really don't. I don't. And again, Andre, like, I find it problematic that we are in a meeting where we are discussing something that is in the interests of the corporation. So I'm not seeing the separation right now between the journalism and the interest of the corporation. I see how it would be in the interest of the corporation for this tweet not to be out, but I don't see how journalistically it's not sound. That's the kind of like disconnect that I'm having right now.
Huh. She's the one having the disconnect. She's the one having the disconnect. She's just supposed to spank him on the bottom. That's what that whole phone call is about. Travis, get in line. And you don't spank someone on the bottom that has integrity. You don't do that to me. You don't do that to someone like him. We will go toe to toe, right? No matter what, because we know we will survive, because we will be on the right side. I don't know if it's something in our Indian blood, the way we were raised or something. I don't know. Not all of us are like that fighting spirit, and that we're not going to go down when we know that integrity is on the line. That's how I was raised. Not that I'm the best at everything, Miss. I hope you know what I'm trying to say. I just admire standing up when you have something legitimate to stand up for, right? Okay, let's take a look at this Catherine Tate woman. I think a lot of us know what she looks like. To me, she looks like she's Carrot Top's mom, and that's probably insulting Carrot Top. She is a very, if you were going to get someone to play the Wicked Witch in a movie of a ginger kid or something like that, it would be her. And that's insulting the gingers. But she looks devilish, to say the least.
Thank you. So with respect, Ms. Tate, I did ask specifically about your compensation. So you make more than the Prime Minister of this country. That's your compensation. So to get a bonus on top of that at a time when viewership is down, ad revenue for your organization is down. I asked specifically about whether or not you would refuse to take a severance package at the conclusion of your term as CEO.
I believe that Canadians would expect that the corporation honor its commitments to its non-unionized.
She doesn't address that. She's going on about some other blah.
Whereas total ad revenues are down, digital ad revenues are up since the beginning of my tenure, which digital revenue was at about 30.
They're up, so I get a bonus. That's it. That's how it goes.
What about if you factored in bonuses? Would there be salaries that would be comparable to yours?
Yes, there would be at the executive vice president level.
Okay. So would there be any indicators in your business performance that would cause you to consider that you might be overpaying some of your employees based on the performance of the organization? Are there any indicators that would cause concern in your mind to overpayment for what the CBC is producing and what the outcomes are?
Absolutely not. As I've said before, we do an annual review with the board of directors.
She is incensed by the question. She's absolutely outraged at the question.
Outside experts to check on that very question.
She thinks she deserves every penny of your taxpayer money to keep that decrepit CBC going that doesn't actually report for viewers at all. Maybe back in the day when you guys actually did some good programming, you did for many years, the W5 and what, all the shows that you did. You can't say that CBC didn't do good programming in the past, but now you are rubbish and you should go get a subscription from people if they want to support you and don't take the money. How about the fact that TV ad revenue is completely down? I mean, she keeps pumping up her digital ad revenue is up under her tenure. Whoopee ding dong. Nobody's watching TV. So cut the funding and cut your bonus.
For concern that maybe people are being overcompensated with taxpayer dollars
I
at the CBC?
absolutely do not believe that people are overcompensated. If anything, we are not competitive in the market.
Oh, baloney. Of course you are. That the market pays what it pays. Gosh, if you actually got paid what you were worth, we'd cut your salary in half or just get rid of you entirely. So don't give me that bogus. But this just like kind of speaks to, it's like, there you have it. There is that clip of the CBC going after Travis Donraj. We don't like what you said. You wanted to interview Catherine Tate, and we're not happy with that. How dare you be transparent? How you think you're making the company look, and we don't like it, politically and from a financial standpoint for the company. But for me, I also had, I like I said before, I have videos that I haven't put out of Global, but here's a little snippet of Global coming for me during COVID. They were doing the same type of thing with me, but at the time there was like no support because what I was going up against were jabs, were mandates, were everything that the news was reporting. I had no support, and I was still like, you're wrong, Global, you're wrong. And they came after me. Here's just a little snippet of that.
Are you aware of the Global News social media policy?
Is that in the JPP?
Yes, it's part of the JPP.
Okay. So I am whatever I post independently, and I put a disclaimer, and that is my own private channel, and I don't talk about Global. I do not identify myself as a Global person. Those are stories that I am telling of people who want to talk to me, completely independent of Global. It has nothing to do with Global. No part of me is identified as a Global employee in any of those podcasts.
Okay. Do you feel your posts show an anti-media bias?
Does it matter? That's what free speech is about.
Okay. Are these posts and your behavior at work aligned with the course values?
I would say no. I mean, I don't know about the values. Probably not aligned with the current vaccination or the current sort of mentality that's going on about vaccines and mandates. So I would say to that aspect, it is opposing. But to chorus values, I don't think it is. I hold up values completely and totally and always. I know, isn't it awful? It actually sickens me to listen to these people, how they're just trying to like string me along so that I can put my foot in it. And even with what I say and how correct I am, about a lot of things, they don't see it and they don't want to see it. And back in the day, I thought that we were actually a good gang of people. But now I see how people can be corrupted when they're told to do something. Or it's like this kind of mob mentality, this go with the narrative, this was just complete suppression of information by corporate media. And Global isn't entirely taxpayer funded like the CBC, but they still did the same punishment on people like me. They also fired a camera guy, Simon Hergott, who made the documentary Heroes No Longer. They tried to ruin his life too because he was outspoken. And he's a friend of mine now. And that is what Global News does. Any chance I get, I will rat on these demons because they deserve it. And until they make this right, they will face our wrath. That's what I got to say, because the light will always show, right? So I guess I'll put these videos out. I have 3 of them, and I don't know how, like what time of day or when, but I don't know. I could just do it all in one day. I actually don't really know how to do it, what the best way is of doing it, but I have it. And I better upload it before somebody steals my computer or something like that. But anyway, big up to Travis Donraj. I would love to interview you one day. And thank you guys for watching this. And keep these people in your thoughts. We have to keep going for people like Kayla, like Dan Hartman, and like the dozens of people I seem to meet on a daily basis and talk to who are struggling with injuries. We got to keep speaking up and fighting about it. Okay. Thank you for watching this video today. I will catch you in the next one. Hey, if you enjoyed my content, like it, love it, subscribe, hit the bell, do what you got to do, and pass it around.